Well, look what do we have here. A new game in Capcom's line of RE remakes, and this time, it's of the one game that most fans didn't even think needed one in the first place, and that's Resident Evil 4. And from the looks of it, I have a feeling that it's going to be a must-play title of the year 2023, which ain't really far off, but before I'd say anything, I haven't really finished the original RE4.
What the fuck, bro?
I know, it would be an act of blasphemy not to have fully played through the iconic Resident Evil 4, but I must admit, my teenage mind was more preoccupied with the DMC3s and NG2s and God Hand. Like Kamiya, I'm more of an action game connoisseur, but I've been recently getting into some of the horror games as of late, so without any further ado, let's dive right in, starting with that gameplay trailer. First off, I'm really digging the complete feeling of dread that I am getting from these environments. It's like, imagine that you're in the middle of an unknown wasteland with a plague that's making the inhabitants a lot crazier and out for blood, and it's overran by a mysterious death cult. The average run-of-the-mill hangout spot for a teenage girl in most scary movies. Who happens to be the president's daughter, who you're tasked to save, so naturally, you're already in that one neighborhood that mommy and daddy told you to stay away from, but you just had to walk right in, so of course, it's gonna look dirty, grimy, grungy, and very unwelcoming. Kinda has that cabin location from the Evil Dead movies, but on a wider scale. As for combat, it looks as if it's taking the same approach as RE2 and RE3 Remake, along with the obvious OG RE4 over-the-shoulder third-person gameplay. But with the additional stealth elements, as you can sneak up on the ganados where you can crouch behind cover while moving slowly to get silent kills or bypass the enemies entirely. Hell, even the over-the-shoulder stuff looks like an intense struggle for survival, especially with some of the scarce ammunition you'll be given. Shit bruv, the game gives you multiple ways to break free from grabs, either by mashing the square button or by just stabbing a knife into their heads. You even have the option of using the actual environment to make your way out of sticky situations that the plague-struck villagers are putting you in with their constant teamwork and ingenuity. And the money shot for me was the knife chainsaw parry. Shit looks pretty badass. As per the story, it looks quite intriguing. You got the basic Hollywood premise of a mission to save the president's daughter from an emerging peril, but the fact that you got Ada Wong as one of the main characters, you know that some betrayal is about to pop up in Leon's journey. Add to the fact that the death cult is attached to this whole shindig, makes me think that I'm gonna go on a wild ride with this one. Now with all of my subjective prattle out of the way, allow me to look at a few new pieces of information that ended up surfacing from the RE showcase. Note that my reference point is Devil Never Cry's video on Resident Evil 4 Remake, everything we need to know. So yeah, thanks for summing up the new info, DNC. This lazy-ass Egyptian truly appreciates it, but I'm just giving my opinion on the news, that's all. Starting with the first tidbit of news, RE4 Remake will be as long as the OG Resi4, so apparently from what I've heard, RE3 Remake had some set pieces of its original game surgically removed, like the clock tower set piece, drastically cutting down its OG runtime from 12.5 hours to a whopping 6 hours.
Bullshit!
Yeah, as a fan of an old school game, seeing it get gimped in a remake would wind up pissing me off too, with the quote from the producer Hibarashi stating that at the start of RE4's production, they decided to look at the fan feedback to find out what fans liked and what could have been improved upon, one of those examples being the runtime, that looks to be about roughly at 15 hours, the same length as the OG. Now this ain't no exact confirmation that a few sections won't be removed. After all, these HD remakes tend to reimagine a lot of scenarios from their original counterparts, sometimes for the better or worse, depending on how it's handled. For now, all what has been said is that on average, the two RE4s are gonna be about the same length. Moving on, remember all the game-breaking QTEs that felt out of place in the original game? Well, they've been poofed out of the remake, with Hirabayashi having this to say: "We barely put in any QTEs in there, but different people have different ideas of what QTEs are, so I ain't saying we got no QTEs at all. All what I can tell you is that we are axing the whole push random button while a cutscene plays. But there are a few times where you need to push a button based on certain situations in gameplay. In my honest and humble opinion, I think that this approach is a-okay in my book because I don't mind if these prompts are placed in gameplay situations where I need to react to specific enemy grabs, as I'm not completely caught off guard, as my mind is still within the gameplay loop. Because if there's one thing I dislike about mid-2000s to early 2010 games, good and bad ones, are the inclusion of cutscene QTEs. I don't like being tricked into a cutscene playing where out of nowhere the game tells me to push a random button or I'll be forced to repeat this god-awful loop. But if they are a part of the gameplay loop as a counter move or to open a door or whatever, that's fine by me. Now let's talk about the one tool that has been the subject of many RE challenge runs, the fucking knife, which has been upgraded to play a more central role in gameplay. It still has its key mechanics of attacking enemies as a secondary weapon because,
well, duh.
It's a knife meant for slicing things, alongside the get off me stab move, featuring additional stabby stab maneuvers of instantly killing downed enemies, paired up by giving Leon Royal Guard with the blade, as its big reveal being the Dr. Salvador chainsaw parry that really makes a damn good wallpaper for my PC. As per any major Capcom parrying mechanic, shit ain't free. You gotta pay attention to your knife's durability, which means anytime you use the knife for anything major, it wears out, with the major chainsaw parry breaking the entire thing. My boy should have got a machete instead. But with the return of the friendly neighborhood RE merchant, seems like a chill dude. It looks like we can actually upgrade the knife to do more damage with, or make it more durable, and you can even fix the broken knife, which means that the knife is a resource that you have to use and manage very carefully, because you can't do jack shit with a broken knife. No parries, no slashing, no stabbing. From what I can tell, if you aren't careful with your blade usage, you'll be a sitting duck with no instant back away button. Sounds like a sick gameplay loop to me. As mentioned previously, the merchant is back. If he wasn't, then public riots would have been a thing outside of Capcom offices, with him having the same function as in the original game, with the typical buying of items and weapon upgrades, with a new function known as trade, where you gotta hand in a secondary currency known as red jewels that you see in the top right corner that have a separate counter to the standard in-game currency for specific items and upgrades. Moving away from the merchant, let's get straight into the attaché case and item crafting. Now, from what I gather in the OG game, this was there to help you organize your loadout. In the remake, it seems that it's there to do the same thing. In every Resi game, you can craft items by manually selecting the items that you want to fuse together. However, in the remake, you'll get a drop-down menu that'll display the craftable items that let you know the specific item combo needed to receive the fused item, making it more suited to modern audiences. Now let's talk briefly about the Ganado villagers. Like I said before, these diseased village dwellers have a tendency to gang up on you to make sure that you are nothing more than a corpse on the pavement, as they try to catch Leon off guard at every turn. Even El Salvador is seen chopping off a huge chunk of the environment to trap you, so you won't have much room to run, meaning that you'll have to be very aware of all the gameplay options that you have at your disposal, whether it's the ammo that you carry, or the knife, or Leon's roundhouse kick, and even the environment. Or if given the option, you can sneak your way through the encounters and try to outsmart them there. So judging from what I've seen and heard of Resident Evil 4 Remake, this game looks like something I'd really enjoy playing. Man, I'm starting to think that I should pop in the OG and play through the whole thing, as I wait for the shiny new RE engine polished remake to make its way to store shelves, or through the various e-commerce website UIs. With that being said, this has been the Devil Joe picking up RE4 Remake when it drops, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified of whenever I upload a new video, and give me a thumbs up and comment down below, and share me around the block, so that we can kick the algorithm's ass together. Devil Joe signing off.